Failing forward. Do you have a fear of taking that first step, of going towards whatever that thing is for you, that dream, that goal? Well, this week we did a series. This is the last one, the culmination in the series of kind of my fuck ups in life and business, and I'm still here to prove the point. Sometimes it ain't gonna kill you, but the fear of regret most definitely might. So, yesterday we touched on how we grew a company from 0 to 30 million pounds. We then we actually grew it to 21 million, and then actually implemented a strategy without buying any more property or businesses. We increased the value from 21 to 30 million. So strategy is quite an important point. Now, we were setting ourselves up to sell to a PLC, and as we said yesterday, we managed to, after 9 months of negotiations, get the PLC into legals, which is about another 6 months or something. And we're at a day where all contracts were signed. We're at a completion meeting at 6 o'clock in the morning, and it ended up at 4:30 in the afternoon. And at that point, the corporate lawyer basically says, Dan, you can't get out, you're signed in. The PLC can't get out, they're signed in. And I'm like, fantastic. Because this is like the beach deal. This is like, we're selling the business, getting quite a bit of money in, and we're keeping all the properties on 15 to 20 year leases, rented to a PLC. And when you rent to a strong covenant, a strong tenant, your asset values increase quite dramatically. So fantastic, happy days. So we're sitting there 4:30, everything's signed. I'm waiting on one bit of paper to be faxed. Back in the days of faxes, this is 2009 actually by this time. And we're waiting on one single A4 piece of paper, final grant of release of security, so we can proceed with the transaction. And that didn't come. Unbelievably, that didn't come. We're 1.5 years into this deal. It's a deal of our culmination of 9 years or something of work, probably longer. And this is kind of our exit. And so what happened? Well, what happened is that we were kind of caught up in two big things. One, the regulation changed in our sector, which hurt profits significantly, but we're still selling out post that. So what happened? We were caught up in a big macroeconomic crisis back in 2009, and the bank at the lastminute.com, despite having it credit sanctioned, a separate credit sanctioned, and a huge, quite significant PwC report to say it's a good deal, which is basically insurance for the bank. Despite all that, on completion day, after all the docs are signed, the bank reneged on the deal. Now, that we never seen this coming, obviously. And our relationship manager, director, never seen it coming either. But you have to, so sometimes in life you get a bad hand, and you have to roll with the punches, and you have to go forward. You have to face your fears, and just really put one step in front of the other, because you have no idea what tomorrow's going to bring. And we didn't know what tomorrow was going to bring in this situation. But the bottom line is the bank reneged on the deal at 1 minute to midnight. 1 minute to completing this deal. And so we had to roll with that. And then subsequently, down the road, basically the big banking crisis, this bank was involved in that and was doing a deal with a third party, shall we say, in order to facilitate kind of loan to their bank. So we were kind of caught up in this big banking macroeconomic kind of situation. And it really set us off rails and took us back about 10 years. Subsequently, we were forced by the bank to sell every asset on pence on the pound, which is obviously a stressful situation, but we faced that without fear. We went every day and we worked with the bank to work through the assets, because we thought we work and do the best that we can, then obviously there's that law of reciprocity, or we hope for anyway. But at the end of the day, the event happened. It was stressful. It was huge for us. It was a massive impact on our life, as you can imagine. And we had to pick the pieces up. So we kind of went back to zero. Over a 3-year period from 2009 to for 2 years or something, we kind of reset and went back to zero in business. And we had to obviously create an impact immediately, quickly. We had to do a deal to get ourselves back on a financial track kind of thing. And in one transaction, we got to a point where we were financially free again in one deal. So it's amazing what you can do when your back's against the wall. Hell of a situation, hell of a 3 years of my life, 4 years actually. But the thing is, we survived, we got through it. And it's incredible how deep you can dig into your reserves in these kind of situations. So really this series is all about, showing you insights into some of my big failures. And we're still here. It's never killed us. But as I said, the fear of regret might kill you. So whatever you're doing, take that step. But there's lessons to be learned along the way. There's always lessons. Take these nuggets, use them as you will or won't. But these are the kind of things that help me. These are kind of my insights through my journey and what I do now to massively, accelerate values in commercial property and businesses. Now, why do I do that? It's for one thing only. I see commercial strategy as a hedge, as a de-risking mechanism, where we force a huge amount of appreciation. Why? Not to re-gear, to de-gear. So we have assets that are incredibly lowly geared and creating safe, secure, long-term income streams. And what does that give you? It gives you a diversified, multiple income stream approach, and it provides safety in your portfolio because you're geographically spread, your sector spread, your tenant spread, and you're incredibly lowly geared. So you'll be able to survive the bumps in the road coming up. So what are the insights I learned through this journey? Well, I suppose the key thing in life is really start with the end in mind and get clarity on what it is you actually want. As I was building this business, I realized along the way, I didn't really want, we ended up with 252 staff. I didn't really want 252 staff, yeah? My thing was always the deals, doing the deal. So I was really keen on, doing the sale and lease back, selling to the PLC, get on to the next deal, crystallizing a capital event. So before you put your ladder and start climbing that ladder of success, make sure at the top of that ladder, that is a life that actually you want to live on a day-to-day basis. So clarity is everything. Get clarity of what your end game is. When you build that thing, what are you then going to do? Get clarity from the start with the end in mind. And when you've got clarity, everything becomes simplified. Yep. So that's number one. And number two, for me, is understanding cycles. I didn't understand cycles before this event for me. So understand economic, macroeconomic, and demographic cycles. I jumped into that as soon as this happened. Why did this happen? Why didn't I see it coming? Economic and demographic cycles are incredible. Technology cycles right now, really, really critical, important. The disruption of capitalization, the democratizing of wealth. What is that? Understanding, jump into that, because the best investment you can do, as Warren Buffett said, is in yourself. Yep. So number one, clarity, start with the end in mind. Number two, understand cycles, start investing in yourself, surrounding yourself with the kind of people that have been there, wherever that is for you, and start getting Sherpas around you to help you up your mountain to climb. And on that point, the third point is a mentor. Always look out for people that have been there, done that a number of times where you want to go. And it's faster if you just pay mentors. Why? Because it collapses time to get the same result as them. It stops the problems, it stops the issues, it stops the financial loss along the way. Even if all they do is stop you falling in financial potholes, they've served you well. The next thing after that, the fourth thing, is really strategy. Strategy is all. When we were doing leverage buyouts, a roll up to get to 30 million, it was called a leverage buyout. Now that is a highly geared 60-65% loan to value, and it is predicated on debt. Yeah, what we do now is we utilize leverage of strategy instead of leverage of debt. To leave us with, after we do a deal, do a development, or whatever it may be, buy a business that owns its underlying commercial property, we use strategy to force capital appreciation, not so we can refinance and re-gear, but to de-gear, to create a hedge, to create safety. Because what I want to create is multiple boxes of secure long-term income streams. Why? To get my time back. Yep. The next thing the insight from me is what's happening right now. We're right at the start of the greatest wealth transfer of, in history, in our lives, for sure, but in history in general. And why is that? Because we've got a lot of macroeconomic factors coming together, tsunami of events coming together, that's going to create huge opportunity for those that have clarity on that and have the right strategy to take advantage of that. And that greatest wealth transfer is predicated on, number one, we're in the biggest recession since 1709. Now that fact alone is quite incredible. And commercial is going down. It's going down fast, and there's going to be massive opportunity. There's funds that have decided these assets that we bought for the last 20 years that were core assets and now deemed them non-core. Land Securities, for example, are putting 5 billion of commercial property assets onto the market over the next 4 years. Coupled with that, we've got the disruption in the high street. The high street has to evolve into the next step, into experiential, leisure, working, co-living, co-playing, very experiential kind of services. And we're on top of that, we've got the baby boomers, the biggest, wealthiest demographic, and for 3 decades they've been acquiring assets. And what are they doing now? They're now disposing of assets. So we've got these macroeconomic and demographic factors are putting massive pressure, downward pressure on commercial values, while residential still buoyant. Now, why is residential still buoyant? It's because of two things. The two biggest drivers of residential are, number one, low interest rates. And we've been in a low interest rate environment since April 2009, and it's not set to stop anytime soon, obviously. And number two is liquidity. There's always going to be a scheme, a plan to get people into homes, they're first-time buyers. So there's always going to be liquidity for residential. So if you can combine, commercial property assets, business assets going down with potentially residential, that you have liquidity there, you have buoyancy, you have exits there, and then utilize those two strategies together, then you have an opportunity of your lifetime. So with that in mind, if you want to find out more about this, put a link below. We're doing a live broadcast on Saturday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That's Saturday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. If you want to come along and see what we do and see how you can potentially get involved, either actively by us helping you do this yourself, or if you haven't got the time, maybe passively. If you qualify, you may be able to invest with us in taking staking your claim in the biggest wealth transfer that's ever been. So if you want to get involved, if you want to find out more, if you want to be able to do this for yourself, or if you want to be able to potentially invest, maybe you're sitting on a SAS pension, maybe it's melting away. If you've got any kind of capital at all, any kind of capital in your company, personally, and in a pension, number one, you got to do is stop the rot. Number two, what you got to do is create income, grow that wealth by creating income. And number three, you got to start benefiting from the law of compounding. As Albert Einstein said, it's the 8th wonder of the world, and compounding is a thing of beauty. If you want to learn more, if you're an active investor, if you're a passive investor, you want to know how you can get involved in this, put a comment below, and I'll send you a link where you can register for our live broadcast this Saturday at 2 o'clock. I look forward to seeing you there. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's almost like being a therapy for me doing this. So I hope you enjoyed it. And it's only for one thing, to help you take that first step and go do that thing. Go do whatever that thing is, and get take those insights, those lessons we've gone through today. Clarity, start with the end in mind. Cycles, best investment is in yourself. Number three, mentors, always hanging around, get yourself normalized in people and attached to people that have already been there a number of different times. And strategy, start using leverage of strategy instead of leverage of debt. I'll see you, put a comment below in the link, and we'll ping you an invite if you want to come. See you soon. Bye.